Hi, Happy New Year. I hope you're easing into the year. January is almost done, but the year's off to kind of a crazy start if you live on the same planet as I do. So, something that I've been doing is just trying to find peace of mind. When there's a lot of noise and chaos, it's really hard to do the daily things, right? To want to show up for those things, whether it's cooking or exercise or, just working. Everything feels a little or a lot harder. Finding peace of mind in other ways besides meditation and exercise for me has been doing things that allow me to just kind of figure out what's going on in my head, allowing space for my thoughts to come out, even if the thoughts don't make sense. Finding activities that allow me to play and not take those things so seriously. I told myself that this year, I really want to be more consistent here on YouTube because it is something that I enjoy. And the only way I'm gonna do that is if I continue to make videos. So these two ideas came to me at different times, but really kind of have the same flavor, same message. And one of the ideas came from Rick Rubin. So Rick Rubin describes things that you create as something that is honest of where you're at that time. He describes it as a diary entry. So it's not so much that it has to be good or even bad. It's just where you're at. It's kind of like when you write in a diary, you're literally just writing what you're feeling, writing what you're experiencing, you're expressing. And no one can really tell you, "Oh, that's bad," or "No, you didn't feel that way," because that's your experience. And that really, really spoke to me because I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, if I make a video, it really is just me sharing my perspective. Sometimes, or a lot of times, I overthink, right? I have a lot of ideas. And sometimes, because I have a lot of ideas, it's hard to choose one and go with it. So that's something I'm trying to practice. And then I came up on this video by Jake Frew. He's on YouTube. If you don't know him, you should give him a watch. And he made a video about treating filmmaking like a sketchbook. And that was another thing that I related to because I have sketchbooks. And what I've noticed about the sketchbooks is that a blank page can feel really intimidating. And the nicer the sketchbook is, the more I'm like, ooh, I don't want to ruin that page, with my ugly ass drawing. So then what I did was I bought an inexpensive sketchbook, just a small one. So the stakes felt lower. And I was like, all right, I could just scribble in here. If it's ugly, who cares? I'll just do something else on the next page. And I think what both of those ideas were telling me was like, just fucking make something. There's two ideas, kind of both say, go ahead and keep practicing. Each video is not meant to be a masterpiece. And the practice in itself is actually what matters to me, at least. All that to say, I wanted to try something different. And when I was like, okay, well, what do I want to talk about? Or what kind of video do I want to make? Well, something that I've been watching lately that has been giving me a lot of comfort and that I've been actually doing myself is journaling. So I thought I'd go over the different types of journals and notebooks that I have going on for 2026 and just share them with you. That's it. So here is my 2026 journal and notebook lineup. Here we go. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to say that all of these notebooks and planners took me some time to build. And I think that's important because, you see a lot of these like hauls, and don't get me wrong, I love notebooks, stationaries, pens, I love all of it. But I also think it's really important to build a system or a way that you use these notebooks that's intentional and for each one to serve a purpose. So let's start off with planners. Now, I have sort of a hybrid system. I use a digital calendar because it fits my lifestyle. So I do one-on-one coaching with clients, and because those sessions are on digital platforms, let's say Zoom, you need the link. And so it's so much more convenient to do that digitally. Now, what I noticed is, and I feel like I've tried all of the different types of planners, I still need something that's physical. Maybe it's the millennial in me, but I've tried digital notebooks, digital planners, and it just doesn't work well for me, except for Apple Notes. Love Apple Notes. But for planners, I ended up getting this Leuchtturm, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, weekly planner. And the reason why I went for weekly is I realized that that's how I plan. I look at my weeks in terms of what I need to do, what appointments I got going on. All I really wanted was a weekly setup, and I ended up with this A6. Now, that's very unusual for me. I am usually an A5 or bigger because I like to have space to write. But the reason why I chose this size is because I am planning for this to be part of my everyday carry. I'm actually waiting for a Paper Republic cover that I want to pair with a Midori notebook and this planner. So it's going to be fairly, it's not too chunky. And the purpose for that is because I want something I can put in my purse, fit in almost any bag. And although I love the A5, that is just too big. So I figured if I have the planner with me and then I have some sort of notebook in it that I can literally just write anything that I need to write, I'd be good. So I'm waiting for that. Super excited. I'll show you when it's all together. So basically this weekly planner, it's a lot smaller than I'm used to, but there are some really cool things about it. So one is that the way the pages are set up, you have space here for each day. And then on the other side, you have space for notes. And how I use this is I write some sort of quote, some affirmation, a question that is kind of like the theme of my week or something that I want to remember. And then I use the rest of the page to write everything that is in my brain that I want to do. So to-do lists, right? And then once I get it all written down, then I look at the days and split it up. I might not fit all of that in one week, but then I can carry that on to the next week. So once I've used this a little bit more, I'll show you what that could look like. But for now, there's private things in here, so you don't need to see it. So that is the weekly planner. Okay, so let's get into the journals, which are my favorite. I'm a big fan of the Midori MD notebooks. So I've just committed to that. I love the paper. I love the construction. They just do it right. So I've experimented with the blank sheets, the dotted grid, the graph, and now the line. And something I'm noticing, so I'll show you. This is the line. Something I'm noticing, at least with myself, is with the lined notebook, I tend to write more. I don't know if that makes sense. But with the blank ones or the dotted grid, you have more freedom. So I found myself doodling or sketching little things, which is cool too. But with the lines, I write mostly words and maybe, a few little doodles here and there. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, it is. That's what it is. And so I'm enjoying it. And then after I'm done with this one, I don't know. I'll figure out if I want to go back to the blank one. This is what I call my stream of consciousness journal, morning pages, if you've done the artist way. This is where I just go. I let my thoughts out. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. It's unhinged. And I just reflect. I ask questions. There's a lot going on in here. And so I don't worry about punctuation or whiting out certain things. I just cross it out or just let things flow. It doesn't really matter. So it serves as that purpose. This is a consistent practice that I've been going strong with. And I'm really actually proud of myself for that, because before I would take a lot of breaks, and now I feel like this type of journaling for me has been a lifeline. That's all I can really say. I don't ever see myself stopping. It's something that I need to do. It's kind of like meditation and all the other practices that I try to keep up with. Yeah, it's kind of part of me now. So stream of consciousness journal. The next one was gifted to me, and I just started it this year. It's this Midori 5-year diary, and so far I am loving this notebook. So for many different reasons. Number one, it's Midori, so it is well crafted. The paper is beautiful. I mean, the design, look at that. I love how it looks like a classic, book cover, and it'll look really pretty on your shelf after you've completed 5 years. I didn't really understand what the point of it was until I looked into it and started doing it, but I'll show you. So each page, you get 5 sections, 5 sections. So it would be for the same day, you have written something for the past 5 years. And there's something like really cool about that. Looking back on oh, wow, that's what I did 2-3 years ago. And I like that there's only a few lines, because this is small. And so what I've been using this for is at the end of the day, if I forget, I do it the next day. And I just write 1 to 3 lines. You don't have to say much. It's just a few little things that maybe you're either grateful for, that stand out to you, something you ate. It could literally be anything. So that's how I've been using it. And I've mainly been writing in it at the end of the day. And I'm really, really loving it. Another cool thing about this is that it has an epilogue and a prologue, which is like so fucking cool. So yeah, if you're looking for a different way to journal, or if you don't have a lot of time, I think this is a really great way to get into it because it doesn't require too much effort. You know, one sentence, 2 sentences maybe. Highly, highly recommend. So I would say that these two are like my diary type of journals, right? They have that essence of, to me, a diary. Now I have my notebooks. So one is a commonplace notebook. This is actually new for me. And I'm so glad I found out about it because I love taking notes. Obviously, I was a nerd in school, and I swear, now that I think about it, I think I liked writing notes more than going to school, if that makes sense. Like, I love the highlighters and I love designing the notes a certain way. Love the notebooks, obviously, or like decorating my binder. And so it all just like makes sense to me now. But I've always collected quotes, ideas, and I do that also digitally on Apple Notes. But I wanted a way to put it together in, something that's tangible, because there's something special about that. So I read about commonplace books and I started this last year. So the intention of this is that and I actually wrote it in the front of each notebook. So I'll put intentions for this book. This one is to document and archive, another tool for learning, to think deeply on how words are put together, to pay attention to the rhythm of words, learn what and why pieces of work catch my attention, and then either to relate or to disagree with ideas, because I think it is important to do both. So I don't really have like a format for this yet, but lately I've been doing it like this. So I'll put, like a title, I have this date stamp, and then whatever the quote, or this case, it's a song by Kendrick Lamar and Flying Lotus. And I liked this verse that Kendrick did on here, so I wanted to break it down. But if you listen to Kendrick, it's hard to break his lyrics down. I also made an index. I want this to be functional. So if I'm looking for something, let's say I'm like, oh, what was the name of that song or that poem or the quote by this person, I wanted a way to find it. And I was really hesitant to make an index because I didn't know how many pages I needed. So I just tried it since this is my first time. I'm like, okay, well, if I run out of pages, I'll figure it out, right? So I made an index in the back. And maybe next time I'll show it to you when I have like a better view of the journal. But basically it is the title and then the page, and then I color coded it depending on if it's a quote, an idea. So I'm really enjoying this. I actually like this on blank paper. I think it fits for what I'm using it for right now. I could also see myself, I'm gonna start documenting in here when I read books because I want to understand what I'm reading more, and I annotate my books, so I want to be able to, just get into those topics, or at least write down things that stood out to me from the books, like what I learned. So that's my commonplace. Okay, so I also have a work in progress notebook. So it's another Midori. I have this plastic cover on it. And this is very specific. Once again, the intention I wrote here. This is a place for ideas to flow. This is for rough drafts, experiments, and this is where creative projects start. I also made an index, and this time I made the index in the front because I wanted to see what I like better. And the more I'm using these, I prefer the index in the front. I thought I'd like it in the back so it's like hidden, but I actually prefer it in the front because I can just scan it. So yeah, this is just where, you know, if I'm drafting up a newsletter, shameless plug, I have a newsletter. I'll leave the link in the description. This is where I just do a rough draft, or, you know, do a mind map or an outline, just brainstorm. Same with YouTube videos, same with just creative ideas, projects. This is where it happens. So this is my work in progress notebook. Okay, so let's talk projects. I have this small little sketchbook. This is the one I was talking about earlier. I think it's a perfect size. It's a pretty yellow. I love yellow. It makes me happy. It's the Talons brand, and I've seen a few artists, watercolor artists, recommend this. I think it's the perfect size because you can just pop it into a bag in your backpack. Also, if you're new to drawing or painting, it doesn't feel so intimidating, right? Because the pages are so small. So I am working on something right now. And then I'm also trying to split up the pages so I can make even smaller drawings. So I've been really enjoying this, and this is what I'm gonna work on for 2026. Now, other projects that I want to work on, I want to do more collages and scrapbooking, and I was really overthinking like what notebook to use or where to put it. And the reality is that I'm probably going to need a few different ones because I have pages from travels where I've done like some writing and some collages, but I want to put them all together so it's more cohesive. So that might be one project. And then another project is just maybe some collages for the year, maybe like a monthly one. Nothing too crazy. I'm trying to think of this as something that I can do that's fun. And it needs to make sense. So if you have too many things going on, you're just less likely to do it. All that to say, I did get this A4 Midori notebook, and I think I am going to use this as a little scrapbook thing that I'm going to do for this year. What the theme's going to be, I'm not sure. So we'll figure it out. So yeah, that is my current lineup. Hopefully that gives you some ideas so that you can build, you know, a system that works for you. It doesn't have to be complicated. I have used one notebook for everything before, and that worked for me at the time. But as I started writing more, as I started working in different ways, I added more things that make sense to me. If you were to really just pick 3, I would definitely have a planner. I would definitely choose my daily stream of consciousness diary, and I would probably have like a combination work in progress, commonplace type of journal. So if I were to parse this down to just 3, it'd probably be this. Am I going to do that this year? No, because I'm really liking this and it's been working for me. I started it like last year. I would say the only thing that is really new is this and the weekly planner, but I've been using planners, but this is like the newest thing. So yeah, happy journaling. I hope that you find ways to have some fun, but also to take care of your mind, to help you like pay attention to what's going on with you, what brings you joy, and to get those creative juices flowing so that you can feel alive. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.